Hope we do. Rule 21 is titled, No Speaking for More Than 5 Minutes. Okay? So, Council Colorio, since it's your item, could you give us some of your thoughts on your concerns about Rule 21?
Would you mind reading it first?
Sure.
Okay.
After being recognized by the chair, no council shall speak for more than 5 minutes at a time, no more than 10 minutes total on any agenda item or a group of calendar items taken collectively. The chair may grant additional time to any council if comments made by the city manager or other individuals in response to the questions have taken an unusual amount of time. The chair shall make note of the time each member is recognized. Whenever any member substantially exceeds 5 minutes during their first time speaking on an item, the chair may rule that the member is being allocated his or her second 5 minutes, and the member shall be deemed to have waived his or her right to speak twice on an item. That's Rule 21. And of course, these are the rules of the City Council, if anybody's listening in and unsure which rules we're talking about. And I believe they're online under the clerk's section of the City of Worcester website.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my objective or my thoughts on looking over the rules was that we receive this book when we become councilors. We don't spend a lot of time reading it. And then when things come up, we refer back to it. So I thought it'd be a good way to refresh and talk about some of the rules. And as I was putting this on the agenda, I had a couple councilors that said it would be nice to include, but not limited to. So there could be other rules, as you mentioned, being discussed. So I thought it would be a good time to read the rules, talk about the rules. And when I was on school committee, we had the School Committee Association come in and do kind of like a evaluation of how we ran meetings in some of our procedural work. And one of the things that kept coming up was making meetings more efficient, making it shorter, making it more condensed. So I saw areas where there's things that are that could be condensed. There's areas in rules that we could just maybe enforce more and look at and have an open discussion. And I thought this would be a good time to do it, is and kind of work on some of the, some of the rules. So this rule is, I personally do not believe it's enforced enough. And there's times where people do talk more than 5 minutes and more than 10 minutes. And I think it takes away from the quality of the item that we're dealing with. I think if, in 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes for those that, I tend to just be a little bit more direct when I speak. And I think that we could enforce this a lot better, this rule here, and we could really kind of condense our meetings so we can deal with the issues at hand, because I know sometimes when our meetings go till like 11 o'clock at night, the items that are at the end of the night don't get as much time as the items at the beginning of the night. So I think it would be, in my opinion, an item or rule that could be enforced. And one of the things that I've observed, and I mean, this is up to the chair whether you want to make the recommendation or not, is back, I want to say maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, when I did a little bit more interaction at the State House and I testified at the State House, when you approached the podium, there would be a clock that you could see, so you didn't have to question or look down on your phone to see if you've exceeded or you went over the 2 minutes as a public participation, or as a counselor if you went over your 5 minutes, and you could clearly see what time you had left. So I mean, I don't know why we don't have some kind of a double-sided clock on the at the mayor's position post to just indicate when your time was up. So I mean, these are some of the things that I've thought of over the years that I think can be a little bit better in making us a little bit more efficient and just kind of fine tuning, our time so we can spend it as many items as we can, because sometimes our agendas, as you know, Mr. Chair, are extremely long, like last night. And, you want to spend as much time as you can on the items that are, you want to be able to get to all the items equally as much. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I go to Councilor Ojeda, I omitted introducing Alexandra Kalkunas, who's a Deputy City Solicitor, and we thank her for joining us here tonight as well. Councilor Ojeda?
On Rule 21, I think, being 7 months in and understanding, the 5-minute rule, I think we've been able to, go over at times, but I think, in reading and understanding this, there are times where there are questions being asked and going back and forth, so it does take away from the 5 minutes.